Fingers pulling up.
Yes, please.
Which one?
French fries.
French fries? And what would you like to drink?
Islanders Kool-Aid.
Oh, yes.
Don't ask it. It's been a long season.
I'll go with Pepsi, please.
Pepsi, sure. Right? A Pepsi, a sweet tea, and a milk are on the way, guys.
All right.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, I'll get some slow boards coming out too.
Are you sure this is the right camera angle? We want people to watch, don't we?
Well, we got the star camera right now. Is my makeup looking good?
I don't know. You look hideous. Is that your makeup?
I got my caps. See, got my caps. Cap on. I'm ready to rock and roll. All right, let's start week number.
Why are we trusting this guy's vision? He's clearly blind.
Week number 3.
All right, we are back in the center of the university, IHOP in Fairfax.
Well, it used to be a duo, now it's trio apparently. Because
Yeah,
he's back again.
Yeah, we got Brian Smalley here in the house.
Hi, people.
He's going to be here for the foreseeable future. He's got nothing better to do on Wednesday, apparently.
Apparently not.
All right, so let's get the.
So
hold on a second. I
we'll
need my
have at least
cheat
3
sheet here.
viewers tonight. At least 3 viewers guaranteed.
Yes,
for our
the
podcast.
untold dozens will take part.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask Seth to call up my cheat sheet because it's been so long I can't remember which team was up. So
First game, we go back to recap. Start with the recap.
let's start with of course we're going to start with the recap.
Awesome. Before we do, we have our drinks here.
Yes, drinks have arrived.
Not alcoholic, by the way. Not
Of
alcoholic.
course they're not alcoholic.
Which is why it's going to suck. Because if it was alcoholic, it would be a great show.
People actually pay attention.
Exactly.
One of these days I'm going to explain what happened, speaking of alcohol, I'm going to explain what happened with the Afterburners party, which is a story that needs to be told, may I say. Everybody's going to wonder what
Afterwards party.
happened.
Now, normal party is about 25 people. Afterwards party probably had 3 people.
Actually, we had 7 people.
7
there.
people, wow.
Yes.
Would you duplicate yourself out there?
No, just seemed that way. Okay.
Normally have more than 3 players for a team.
7 people?
It was a small team in a small gym for a small time.
That's considering that's actually a lot of quarters. They only
Well-
have like 5 players usually.
And the first thing we have to talk about is that this was the week that was, and it was a crazy week. For those who were there for the last game, you heard me say, please don't let us go to another shootout. I wasn't kidding. We had 4 on the day.
4 out of 8 games went to a shootout. Almost 5. Almost 5.
Yeah, almost
went to a
another
shootout.
one. So what you're going to see here is basically us trying to recover from this week. That's what we've been doing here. You'll notice, by the way, that in each of the Pro and the Rec division, a set of 4 teams has played each other, and another set of 4 teams has played each other. There hasn't been any crossover yet, so there's still a little feeling out to do.
Correct.
But
I thought it was a great week of action. We had a lot of unexpected results, which is always awesome. As a commissioner, I love seeing that because I want to see competitive games. That's always a good thing. And we have a couple of teams that I thought would struggle to get points. They got at least 1 point in their season, which is great to see as well too. And in fact, 1 victory for the Untouchables.
Yes.
A great victory as well too. But I want to give it away. Let's start with the first game of the of week number 3.
That was the Untouchables playing the Scabs. I apologize. You actually got my ugly mug on camera. Nobody wants to see that. Sorry, guys.
Untouchables was Scabs, a game where, before the game started, John Roms came to me and said, "You said we were the best rec team. You just jinxed us." Guess what? He was right.
Yeah, no kidding. This was a game where the Untouchables played their style. They were very defensive-minded.
Played very well.
I talked last week about the difference between ugly and chippy. Now we're gonna
Dirty. Ugly and dirty.
Yes, we're gonna go over that a lot this week because there were examples of all of it. The Untouchables were playing ugly, but they were playing great.
We're not about Andy's looks either. Not about Andy's looks. We're talking about the actual play of looks.
Yeah, there's nothing. My looks.
There's a difference.
The looks of everybody here are both ugly and dirty, and we all know it. So.
All right, ugly and dirty. This game was ugly.
This game was
but
ugly.
It was well played ugly by
Yes.
the Untouchables.
And it's like I said last week, ugly is a strategy and it works. They were trapping in the back. Scabs could not get very many shots off. They couldn't get any good looks, really, on the goalie. And who was the goalie this week? It wasn't George. George had the week off.
It was the debut of Mike R.
Mike R. Who only faced 16 shots on the day.
Mike R, by the way, plays for the Gargoyles in the MDHL.
Have to get the plug in.
Plug for the DCHL.
Yeah, we apologize, folks. And it looked like this one was going to be, I believe it would have been the first scoreless draw in the history of the DCHL until, with about 6 minutes left, Jay, let's give him credit, charged in on John. First shot was blocked, ball sort of rolled high up, went high up in the air, was sitting there. All it needed was a tap in. Jay got the tap in. That was the only score of the game. It was 1-0. Untouchables go to 1-2. Scaps fall to 2-1.
That's a huge upset because the Untouchables were missing. I'm told now that the player that I've been hyping all along will not play this season. That Greg D will be playing next season out there. So we're going to definitely struggle to score goals, the Untouchables, this season overall. But to make a long story short here, I thought it was a great game, great defensive game out there. The Scabs were frustrated. They're used to scoring goals. They couldn't score goals. You could tell. Third period, they were getting frustrated as well too. I didn't see the goal that Jay scored because I had to walk away for a while. But right before that, I believe the Untouchables were shorthanded 5-on-3, and Fabian, was it Fabian or somebody else? No, somebody else on the Untouchables had a breakaway on a 5-on-3 and almost scored. So
yeah,
they were the better
Fabian.
team in the third period and deserved to win the game.
It was Fabian, and you know that says something about the Scabs too, that they reverted, I guess you would say.
Well, losing one thing that's not bad. I mean, they didn't get blown out by, they played well. They just, they came across a team that played defense.
All the same, if you're 5-on-3 and they have the best chance to score, you're doing something
well.
wrong.
As John Rahm said, people were moving their feet, in the power play. Their scorers were watching the plays, and there's no way she could beat on a 5-on-3 power play shorthanded.
Should not happen.
Never happened. So that's the key to having speed as well too. So
right.
Give credit to the Untouchables. They played very well. Scabs, hey, look, it happens sometimes, they didn't play horribly, but I worry about the Scabs when they play good defensive teams, and they have offense, but I wonder if they can score against good defensive teams, and UT played a very good game, give them credit.
I mean, we saw that too in the playoffs in Tacoma, when they played the Scorpions in the semis, a team that, that is aggressive in all the zones, especially defense though, and they just were uncompetitive in that semifinal.
Yeah, so that's, if I'm the Scabs, I worry about them attacking a good defensive team. They can score goals, don't worry about that, but if they attack, stay consistent, stay disciplined to play a good defensive team. But anyway, good congratulations to the Untouchables, their first victory in their third game as a brand new rec team, which is very tough to do. So
right. Good
job to Jay and Jess for a job well done, and good job from Mike Rosen. Mike R, his debut, got a shutout in DCHL. Props to Mike as well too.
There you go. Game 2 was the NWO against the Puck Buddies, and every indication, if you'd seen the first two games that both these teams played, was you were not feeling optimistic about the NWO's chances, and unfortunately it played out that way.
Puck Buddies had almost a full roster there, and I'll tell you what, they looked like to me a complete team. They play defense, they play offense, they have goaltending. They'll be very tough team to beat out there. And you know what? I'll say it out right now. I think I said this, made the statement on Facebook after the first preseason game we had out there, up to week 1 of preseason. If the Puck Buddies have their entire roster, I think they could beat Gold easily. I said it already. So Gold, your throne, your 3 peak throne. If you were here, I don't think you'd be champions anymore. I think Puck Buddies are much better, and I think Cobra Kai's better too, by the way. So that's my 2 with the Puck Buddies. But they dominated. They dominated
the game. It was, I believe, 5-0 at the end. Want to give credit to Jake. Want to give credit to Peter. They were the dynamo on offense for that one. And
Jake is obviously a star. So.
He is. He's a big star in the making here.
And you know what? Their girls played very well too. Molly played well.
Indeed.
Maria was there. I'm a big Jen Pop fan. She's very athletic. She plays football in a league that I referee in. Cassidy's hurt. She's also very good too. They've got a very good deep roster. And I like their team. And they have a good goaltender as well too. So that team is going to go some places. I'd be shocked if they don't make to the DCHL Cup Finals. My personal opinion.
All right. Game 3 is one that you've seen on the network, or if you haven't seen it on the network, pause this podcast, go see it on the network.
Exactly.
I think it's over here.
I think it's over there.
It's over there?
No, I think it's up there. It's somewhere on YouTube.
We can't trust the YouTube links. So it's the 5-minute majors coming in at 1-0-1.
Missing David, Carey,
yeah.
a lot of James, a lot of their key players.
Yep, against the Babylon Warriors, who are coming in at 1-1. And this entire time we were asking, would the real Babylon Warriors please stand up? Was this the team that had dominated their first game, or the team that was blown out in their second game? We still don't know, but it was a heck of a game for the third game. I'll tell you that right now.
Again, I was very impressed by 5-minute major for 2 weeks in a row. Their offense is coming around. They've always played good defense. They had a new goalie who didn't exactly have a great game last week. But I think he faced L2T. He saw 4 shots. He gave up 2 goals. Not exactly a great stat. This time he saw more shots, and he played very well. Their offense was pretty good too. Then a couple of new players who debuted, and one that actually was the star of the game, if I recall correctly. I don't remember the name of the person, but the guy who was the star.
Yeah, Todd for getting the
yes,
the
Todd L. Todd L.
Now he was the star of the shootout. Not necessarily the start of the game. I think Travis and JP played the best in the game. They each had 2 goals.
I think he was the one interviewed for the.
He was the one I interviewed. That's because he had the only goal in the shootout. It was 3-3 after regulation. Majors win the shootout 1-0. I want you to tune in to see the game just because we had special guest appearance by John Robs, we had special guest appearance by Molly Sedaris, 2 people who do a whole lot for this league, and I wanted to make sure they got some time with me in the booth, even though Molly told me she had no idea what she was doing. So,
it was a great game to watch, and it was exciting. It went to a shootout, and Todd L put it away. I thought I gave Todd L the number 1 star that game. Maybe I was wrong, but I thought.
No, you did. You did.
Okay. Yeah, I just thought, but it worked out that way. But it was his first game in DCHL. He played very well. When they get back James, they get back Kerry, they get back David. This team, I am now. Remember, I had them as hold, sell, maybe. Now I'm going to go with buy. I think you have to buy the 5-minute major because they are now in first place.
They are
in the rec division as well too. So keep that in mind.
Well, the rec division is
which is great. You want to have people, teams coming up and down.
It's very balanced, very unpredictable.
Yeah, exactly.
And next game was the Funk Masters and the Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes, by the way, we want to bring this up. We're missing Ron because he was attending the birth of his son. Congratulations to Ron.
Do it for Dylan.
Yes. The team was inspired by that. By the way, I have been told, that when the doctor first held little Dylan, he was crying for 3 minutes straight, which means he's actually inherited whining to authorities from his father.
Oh. Emails go out to Andy Durham at yahoo.com.
For the record, I passed that one on to Kelly, who said he also inherited it from his mother, so I'm not the only one making this joke here.
CCKellyK at yahoo.com as well, too, because I don't want any emails about that one. So. It was a Funk Master. Oh, this is the game where, I thought I saw visions of evil umpire and Providence because it was pretty much a choke job. Let's be honest here. Funk Master couldn't put the game away.
I really don't like using the term choke job, but you're going to see this.
I say that in the most endearing term, but it was a collapse.
This was the first of 3 big comebacks we had. we had, and I want to give credit to the Snake Eyes, unlike what this asshole's doing over here. I want to give credit to the Snake Eyes because
you can't say that. You can't say hole on YouTube.
Oh.
Yeah, you can say ass. You can't say hole.
Crap. Okay.
Now we're violating FCC violations already. Look at Andy.
You're assuming anybody's watching this. Now, I want to give Snake Eyes full credit. They did not give up. They took advantage of. Honestly, this is one of the things we've noticed. The Funk Masters, anybody who's seen their game knows, they call their timeout generally at the start of the 3rd period. The reason is that Jordan is someone who wants to get that time to recoup.
I think Jordan generally Jordan will tough out raw there, but he's sensitive to heat and he gets really overheated sometimes. So timeout it's a good time for him.
Right. I'm not. I mean, I don't want to. I'm just saying this is.
Yeah, that's
they
my
do it for his sake.
But in this case, Jordan had played a game earlier. He filled in for the Babylon Warriors,
which means that now he was on his 2nd game. They call it timeout at the start of the 2nd period. Which means by the start of the 3rd, he looked like he was running out of gas. Snake Eyes, it's considered they took full advantage. I think that if Jordan had only been playing 1 game that day, this would be a very different result, but that's not the way it was.
You know what? That's Exhibit A of why that happened. I can buy that. I believe it was more of the fact that Funkmaster and Keith would tell me that. Keith, I'll talk to Keith off the game, by the way. Keith and Ma off the game. They're like, exactly. We just couldn't put the game away. They don't have the secondary and tertiary scores to put the game away. They had 4 or 5 just to get the 4th goal to make it 4-0. They couldn't do it. And you know what? You see that in NHL games, you see that in baseball, in football. You can't get that touchdown or that extra goal to put the game out of reach. What happens usually? Defense back. And they kept the gate door open, and they came back and gave credit to the Snake Eyes. I thought it was over. I mean, Funk was dominating. I thought it was over, but somehow, some way, they tied the game up, and they won the shootout.
They did, and in fact, it was the first ever perfect shootout in that Snake Eyes scored all the time, and the Funk Masters were saved all the time.
Wow.
This was basically as dominant a shootout as you can get in a shootout.
You know what? With that shootout win, Snake Eyes have not had a regulation win. They've had 2 shootout wins and a loss. and they are in the top 4. So it just shows you how important getting victories are. Without a regulation win, they're in the top 4. The playoffs start today. They'll be the DCHL Cup Pro playoffs.
And that's the thing, it's still 2 points for an overtime or a shootout win.
Exactly.
That's
and you know what? Now I also have a tiebreaker edge over Funkmasters too, head on head.
That's big. Next game, before this game begins, we were told, Sarah came up to us, the Chiefs captain Sarah came up to us and said there might be a problem because the goalkeeper Matt did not have his contacts
Who, by the way, is our husband, Matt.
Yes, did not have his contacts in for the game and thought there might be a problem.
Long story short, she felt bad about that, and unfortunately,
long story short, there was a problem.
Yeah,
there was a big problem.
It never went down.
Yeah, unfortunately, she forgot to pack his contacts from home, so he was playing without contacts. Unfortunately for poor Matt, he toughed it out. He gave the best he had. It wasn't a horrible performance on Matt, but you could tell that he couldn't see the ball clearly overall,
right. And
that was a difference.
And you don't want to play that against anybody, especially against a team like Cobra Kai.
And the Cobra Kai had a full stat this time.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. I took it. Neil and I were on the ride home together. Neil said that was probably the most organized team that he saw all
Cobra
day.
Kai?
Yes. Had designed offensive plays. Were able to make the short passes to get into the open position. This was a clinic they put on, honestly.
Again, Vegas Suds. It's only 3 weeks into the season. I know that, but if I had to pick my picks right now, Cobra Kai versus Hunt Buddies for the DCHL Cup Pro. That's my call.
All right, and the final score was 8-3, which is a new Rockville Arena record for most goals, 8th, which is
okay. Most goal by one team.
Right. And we have to make that caveat because you go to the next game. Now, earlier I had mentioned the difference between ugly and dirty.
I'm sorry, one side gig is the fact that the Chiefs now have a new goaltender. They've secured a new goaltender for this coming up. I think it's permanent, but I'm not sure. But I got an email from Sarah that they have a new goaltender. So look out, guys. Chiefs have scoring. If they can get a star goaltender on top of that, this is going to be a dangerous team.
Yeah, they might be able to make a comeback. They might be able to stay up. Yeah. I think this is a team that's yo-yoed throughout their existence. They might be able to stay up this time. Okay. Now, I mentioned ugly versus dirty. The Snake Eyes usually play an ugly, and the Untouchables played an ugly game this week. The next game was just plain dirty.
It's just as the referee said, and I agree with him. This was the most undisciplined game I've ever seen in my life. From a scoring, from a defense, breakdowns left and right, penalties left and right, chaos left and right. And really, you know what? The end result was probably correct because they ended up in the top.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a fair result.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. The reason being, it's the Scorpions and the Street Sharks, two rivals, long-standing rivals, and they played like it. Did they ever play like it, folks?
Actually, the Street Sharks jumped up to a pretty big lead. They dominated the game early on.
Took advantage of the fact the Scorpions had a second-string goaltender in.
Namely Andy.
Yeah, who had no clue what he was doing out there. Sorry about that, everyone. And with about 2.5 minutes to go, they're up 7-4. And you think?
And again, we had a prop decided. For the second game, we had a prop that evil umpire.
We had a furious comeback.
A 3-goal lead was gone.
Honestly, this might be this is the one time I might actually be inclined to think it is. Full credit to Brian and the boys here who were able to get all the goals in while I was pulled, but. Honestly, you give up 3 goals in 90 seconds like that, and there was a strange moment.
You can't. Come on over.
There was a very strange moment. With about 2.5 minutes to go, the Scorpions called their timeout just to make sure everyone was on the same page. Now, I don't know what was said on the bench then.
I don't think we actually called the timeout.
Get Andy out of there. No, I'm kidding.
Well, there was no. We're getting to that though.
I meant pull Andy. That's what they meant.
I think chaos ensued, so I had no idea.
With about 2 minutes to go, they scored to make it 7-5. Scott tries to call a timeout again, but apparently someone had already called timeout for him, so it wasn't able to. And then, probably the most inexplicable moment of the game, the Street Sharks call timeout.
Yeah, well, maybe they felt something coming on, but the timeout didn't help at all. I think.
In fact, it backfired because it enabled the Scorpions to get their goalie out.
Yeah. They pulled the goalie with 2 minutes left and down 2 goals. They were able to get 1 goal. They got a break because then they got a penalty for high sticking. Put the Scorpions on the power play, and with less than a minute to go, Brian to my left here had the tying goal of the power play to make it 7-7.
It was a power play goal.
Yes,
it was, yes. And this was one of these things where ESPN would have had a field day following me because it would have been with 2 minutes to go. I'm trudging off the floor. Minute and a half. First goal goes in. I'm suddenly whirling around. Where's my helmet? Got to put it back on. Minute to go. The second goal goes in. I'm running back out there and saying, "Somebody get off! We got to get me back in here." So that led to the shootout. And this is where I want to say that people give me too much credit. And I only say that because if you
Well,
were,
you did get the third star of the game.
that's what I mean. People give me too much credit here.
An extra plate,
By the way, our food is here, so yeah.
Yeah, we got food.
the plate and the sour cream coming up.
All right, thank you.
But you want
Spinach?
extra butter?
Thank you.
That's there.
Perfect.
Sour cream coming
All
up.
right, thank you.
This is my first meal in 2 days, by the way, so we'll see if I upchuck.
We
He
need
does
some
things wrong. So
It'll improve the ratings.
Ketchup, hot sauce, plate, sour cream, sweet tea.
Yep.
great, thank you. My silverware. Yeah.
Yep. We're good. Carry on.
It was a 7-7 great tie game overall.
Shootout
I said
ended.
great. That was ugly.
I mean, great in terms of excitement, play wise. I mean, there were so many penalties. I couldn't even keep. I was a scorer. I couldn't even keep up. You know, every time a penalty was called, another penalty was called, and the goal was scored. It was chaotic.
Yeah, it was.
What's the rule about penalties? Is it
How so?
3 max and then you're done?
Our league is different. We allow 4 penalties, and then after the 4th, after the referee's discretion, the referee feels that player's out of control, he'd eject him. If not, he'll give him 1 more penalty. 5 is the official ejection point for our league. So we do have a little more leeway in our league.
Now we're reaching the 20-minute mark, so you're going to see sort of a scene here, sort of a hiccup in the. No, not yet, not yet.
Oh, okay.
When we come back, we're going to have the last 2 games to talk about, and we're going to see what Suds has planned for his moment this time because it's his turn.
I mean, did we get all the goals? We got all the games in there?
Oh no, we have 2 more games. Okay, that's the scene. As we mentioned, Scorpion Street Sharks was 7-7. 1-1.
Great shootout, by the way, overall. And I want to give credit to. I want to actually apologize to Jeff. In retrospect, Jeff had more saves than Eddie. I mean, I gave Eddie a Thursday because he played well the shootout. Jeff played awesome as well too. You know, both goalies played well. So you know, I should have gave maybe a co. I can't give a co-third star, but anyway, I think Andy was more spectacular shootout. That's why I gave that overall. But it was a great game from a drama standpoint. Very poor game in terms of discipline. I mean, both teams need to do a better job than that.
Right.
14 goals in 1 game, and that tie, that lost point, dropped the Street Sharks in the bottom tier right now. They're the bottom tier right now overall. So
and it's fair to say
they're 5-6 right now. Scorpions are 6 and Street Sharks are 5.
But it's fair to say that the Street Sharks are the ones who are going to rue missing the point.
Yep. Yeah, I think so too.
This leads us to our Game 7, 2 Jacks, no Coke against L2T. L2T got the memo. Let's start with that. They
got my memo. Goal, ball, shoot on ball, shot on goal, scores goal. They got the memo.
Now, apart from the first period where I think one of them aimed at Suds' head, they were able to find the net on most of the occasions. And in fact, they were dominant for a period and a half. And again, we had a comeback. It started 4-0. You're thinking they finally got it. They know what they're doing here.
4-0?
Yep, 4-0.
And then Prophet came again. It goes to Prophet Sharp again. Evil Empire. Where are you? Where are you, Peter? Sebastian? Tommy?
Would anyone complain if I punched him in the face? I'm just curious.
I don't think so.
Didn't think so either.
So Prophet Sharp again for the 3rd game in a row.
Well, 3rd out of 4 if you want. 3rd out of 4 frantic comeback here. And this one, the Jacks just whittled away and whittled away.
Of all the teams in the league, there are 2 teams I would never imagine would come back. The Untouchables and 2 Jacks who have no offense. But below and behold, I don't know what's worse, blowing a 4-goal lead or blowing a 4-goal lead with 2 Jacks, no Coke, but it happened.
I think the answer is blowing a 3-goal lead in 90 seconds.
Well, yeah, that too. But, you know, I want to give props to L2T. They played well, they played with energy, they played with enthusiasm, they were having fun. And, you know, I hate to see a team not get all 3 points, but, you know, they at least got a point out of it.
Right.
And they played well. So, I mean, it's a very encouraging win for the L2 team.
Right.
Encouraging shootout loss for L2 team.
Everything's okay here?
Yeah, we're doing great. Thank you. As we
Yes, come on.
from 0-4 down, the Jacks tied it up at 4. We went back to the shootout. Mick with the only shootout goal, I believe.
Ari, was it?
No, it was Ari. You're right.
It was Ari. You play Ari.
And that moves the Jacks now into a very good position. They're on 6 points.
I'm sorry. Was it Mick? I think it was Mick. I'm apologize.
Anyway, that moves the Jacks to 6 points. They're in good shape. L2T stuck on 1 point right now. Not looking the best.
But a lot better play than the before.
Yes. This brings us to our nightcap, which was the Ducks and Blood Red, which promised to be a shootout.
Ducks and Blood Red without Tommy Bowser. And without Boris as well.
But they found scoring anyway, and Mike Ortega was the one who led the scoring charge. He stepped up.
He did, and also Eric played well, and Bob played well too.
Yes, and but they didn't have an answer for Chris Callender. And I think very few teams will. He is the piece that's pushing the Ducks over the top right now.
Okay, I'm going to take about 6 seconds here about the Blood Red. I've been on Blood Red's case for a while. I'm going to tell you what I saw last Sunday as well, too. I want to give him credit. I want to give Eric credit. He had some good lines out there. Eric West from Blood Red, it was his turn to do lines. I thought he had good lines. There was one player that was probably out of position, but he didn't know that player very well. And she was playing out of position. But besides that, I thought Eric did a great job with lines. And I thought Fletcher did a good job playing a very good team game for about 2.5 periods. They played very well. I was very impressed. I was very proud of them for putting everybody together and doing very well. They had a 1-goal lead going late into the third period, and then they lost. And let me tell you why they lost, in my personal opinion. The same thing that's happened before popped up again. Players pulling players off the floor because they wanted more ice time, or players changing positions and taking players out of position. The tying goal came because one player went on the floor to play offense was switched to defense by the player on the field, which that player should have never done, and it cost him a goal. So I do see still some of a how can I put this in a very nice way? Players are playing for themselves as opposed to the team. When you're up by 1 goal, late third period, you shouldn't worry about being on offense or defense. You want to play defense and basically win the game. I do see a little bit of me first in Blood Red, and I think that's why they lost the game. They played a great game for 2.5 periods, but I think that's why they lost the game.
Yeah. And lots of goals in this one. Final score 6-4. Chris Callender, a hat trick. Luke Taylor with 2. Mike Ortega with 2 the other way. Want to give credit to Tom Marciano, who faced 43
Tom was terrific. You're right.
Faced 42 awesome. Shots, had 37 saves. 37 is more than I think anyone else has had in the Rockville.
You know, honestly, it should have been 12-5, whatever it means. He made some spectacular saves.
Yes.
That was the best performance by a goalie I saw all year long at Rockville.
It was spectacular. There's really not much else to say about that, other than right now, Blood Red is only on 3 points.
Yeah, you know.
And they're number 6, which through 3 weeks, that means they might be sent right back down anyway.
So far, Vegas Suds, I hate to say it, Vegas Suds is right so far about Blood Red, isn't he? Can I get a little love credit here? Vegas Suds, what he's talking about, right?
The blind squirrel theory still applies, you know. And speaking of everybody's favorite Hunter S. Thompson knockoff, Vegas Suds would like to talk to you for a second.
I do. Yes, I do.
Yes, he does. He wants to preview 2 NHL playoff series. Now, as we speak, the game 1 between the Penguins and Islanders is
in the books. I think in the books.
In the books.
It was over by the first period.
Well,
it was over when they dropped the ball. Actually, when they dropped the puck.
Someone scored first, and hopefully it wasn't the other.
So that series might change things, but
it's NHL playoffs time. So I'm going to take about 2 minutes to go over NHL playoffs, guys. And I want this is more of a educational thing, you know, about making picks out there. You know what? We all have to make picks, which is great. But if you're wagering, and if you wager, I seriously advise you to get help first of all. And number 2, this is only for educational purposes and for information purposes as well too. Let's talk about the first series, the Islanders and Penguins. I'm an Islanders fan, but I'm realistic. This team is not built for the playoffs. They're not big. They're not tough. They don't have much defense. They don't have much depth. The Penguins are a deeper team, a more talented team. I expect the Islanders to lose, honestly, here. You know, for me to sit here and pick the Penguins would be kind of idiotic because they're the favorites. If I pick the Islanders, I'll be called a homer. So there's no picks there. Bottom line is, it's a series where you just hope that your team does well, and I don't have very serious hopes for the Islanders doing well this series. But let's see what happens. They lost big today, and let's see what happens in Game 2. The Caps and Rangers. A series everybody in DC is looking forward to. Starts tomorrow night at the Verizon Center in DC. A series that there's been a lot of talk on Facebook and on the DCHL page as well too. A series that I feel that it can go either way. If the Caps are for real, it could be a 5-6 game series. Honestly, if the Caps are for real. If they're not for real, then it could be a 6-7 game series for the Rangers. It can go one or two ways. I don't see it going 7 games Caps. I don't see it going 5 games Rangers. I think it's going to be one or the other overall. But you know, it's all about the value. Where's the value at? Both these series, it's hard to pick. So I wouldn't go out there and let me make a pick here overall. But I think it's going to be a fun series. I think the Caps, honestly, They're gonna get their test. Good defensive team, the Rangers. They have good goal-taking Rangers as well too. The Caps are a finesse team. They're like Blood Red. I think Blood Red against a good defensive team will struggle. I think the Caps will struggle against the Rangers. Let's find out what happens out there. No picks here officially. Again, I'll say the Caps either win in 5 or the Rangers in 6 or 7. It's my official thought process.
Now, not just that, but I want to say I ran the numbers on this.
Go ahead.
And if you take what their home road splits were during the season and assume that that is their typical home road split, you have an appreciable chance, and appreciable I mean about 7 to 10% chance, I think it's 7% chance, of the home team winning all 7 games.
Yeah,
These teams are better at home than they are on the road.
I doubt that anybody's going to sweep their home games here.
No, but the other thing to remember is that last season it went 7. These are mostly the same teams as last season, and last season the deciding game 7 was in MSG. This season it's in the Verizon Center. There's a lot of things going on in this series that are going to be very interesting to figure out.
It should be a fun series.
It should be. Okay, let's...
All right, that's Vegas Suns. The calm Vegas Suns.
Yeah, for once. Yeah, I guess there's a first time for everything, isn't there?
Medication, so,
Yeah, well, like I said, first time for everything. Now let's look at next week, because we haven't done that yet.
Oh, next week we'll do buy-sell.
Oh, that's right. I apologize. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, as always, Suds here decides 4 teams, and we talk about whether they are on their way up, in which case you buy them, whether they peaked or on the way down, in which case you sell them, or if you think you don't have enough information or you think they're just right, you hold, which means that if you already have stock, you don't sell it. If you don't buy it.
Okay, let's start with the rec division first. Street Sharks.
Well, you know what? I'm going to say this. Until about 3 minutes to go in their game, I would have said buy.
Okay.
I think that this is like when the quarter reports come out on Friday lower than expected. There's going to be a panic sell after this game. There's going to be a lot of soul searching on that team. That said, I think that this is a team that has leadership. I trust Trevor as a leader.
Molly's there too.
And I think that they will be able to right the ship. I'm looking ahead at the schedule, and I think that I think their next 2 games are games they can recover in.
Who they play next 2 games? Do you remember?
I have it right here. They play Babylon Warriors next week, and then License to Thrill after that. Those are 2 teams where they can
I wouldn't,
right the ship a
Babylon
little.
Warriors can do anything. They're a good team, so I'm not sure about that, but.
So I would say hold right now. Because I think there's not enough information. I think we really want to see what happens when they come out of this. But then again, if you were to sell or you were to buy, this is uncharted territory. We don't know how they're going to react to this game. So this one is way up in the air.
You know what? Sharks are a good offensive team. They score goals in bunches. Their defense is questionable. They run around too much in their own end. Jeff plays very well, but he's a small goaltender, so he does give a lot of the net in terms of size overall. I'm going to buy the Sharks because I'll tell you why. They do have defense. They have some tough teams overall. I think they'll make the top 4 playoffs. So I'm going to buy the Sharks here. I think their stock's low right now. I'm going to buy the Sharks.
And that's reasonable. I mean, like I said, I have no idea what's going to happen here.
The next rec team is the Untouchables.
Well, now this is interesting. The Untouchables is an expansion team now. It's always good to get in the ground floor. Mm-hmm. So in the early weeks, I would have said buy. The question is, after this win, is there going to be too much exuberance, as Greenspan would say? Now, they play L2T next week, so that'll be a bit of a check to see if there's anything going on here.
Okay, I'm going to look right now. L2T will beat the Untouchables. I'm on record right now. That's a prediction.
Well then.
L2T will get their first win. Don't let me down, David, crew, Leah, and the crew.
What's your final score for that game?
I have no problem. I mean, it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think L2T will beat the Untouchables.
So right now, when you look at the Untouchables, you look at them as a 1-2 team. You look at what they have. They're going to struggle in the future weeks because they have a brutal run, and their last 2 games are Street Sharks and then Scorpions. That is not no, I'm sorry, I got that wrong. Their last 2 games are. No, their first 2 games were Street Sharks and Scorpions. My mistake. I don't know what I was thinking there. So.
They have a 2-deck cover.
Yeah, okay. But the point is, I mean, this is a team that's going to get better as time goes on. You had to hit them early. I would say sell right now only because the savior is not on the way.
Right, correct.
And that was their lifeline to make the playoffs. He's not on the way. It's going to be another year before they make the top 4.
But to me, buy-sell is not about if their stock is low or if their stock is high. It's about, is the record really indicative of how good this team is going to be? or if it's really a fair record. I think 1 and 2, they're probably overachieving just a little bit out there, personally. So I would do a hold sell on this team. They play a good defensive style. The problem is they're a division where they have a lot of scoring. Scab score goals, Scorpions score goals, Sweet Shock score goals. So they have a tough time matching goal per goal. But they can beat the two Jackson Cooks. They can beat the L2Ts of the world. So I would probably do hold sell on this team. More likely sell, but probably hold sell on this team.
All right.
Now we go to the pro side.
Now these are your picks, so you tell me who's up.
Blood Red, I believe, is the first team on the pro side. Blood Red.
All right.
You go ahead with Blood Red.
This one's a tough one.
Okay.
We saw how they played without their two best players against a Ducks team that honestly I think is overachieving like heck right now.
Okay.
But I believe that the other team we discussed, so we'll come back to that.
Yep, we do.
The fact they will play close is a good thing. They have some very interesting games coming up. They have the Funks next and the Puck Buddies after that, and those are two games we're going to learn a lot about them in those games. I think when it comes to the Funks, it's going to be a star duel. When it comes to the Puck Buddies, they're going to have to hold on for dear life. Right now at 1 and 2, honestly, this is the team that should have gone down at the end of last season. I don't see it getting any better. I think this team, especially if Tommy is not there regularly, you see a conflicting, as we brought up here, we see conflicting philosophies on the team. Mm-hmm. In the NBA, sometimes there can be, because of the way the contract system works, if you have too many players in the last season of their contract, team chemistry suffers. Blood Red is playing like everyone's in the last season of their contract. That's a sell to me.
You know what? Tough call. It's all going to depend on, Blood Red can be a championship team. And again, if everybody on that team, besides their ego, their personal needs, their personal preferences, and play a team game. They happened for about 2.5 periods last week. Without Tommy Bowser, without Boris, the two star players, they played great and they scored goals. Everybody played for each other. They cared about the product, not themselves. You know what? But then in the last half of the game, they went back to the old form again. I don't trust some of the Blood Red players not to be me first. I'm going to sell. I mean, they'll get the wins. I don't know if they're going to be a top 4 team or not because they're behind the 8 ball right now, but I'm going to still sell them Blood Red.
All right, we're going to end with the Ducks here. Now, I've already mentioned I think they're overachieving. How else are you going to describe it? They've beaten Cobra Kai. They've beaten Blood Red. They
beat Cobra Kai without Cobra Kai's top players there. Put an asterisk there. Not that it didn't count. It counts. Mm-hmm. But they didn't place the Cobra Kai team that Blood Red faced.
Here are the three games they've played so far. They beat the Chiefs in a shootout, and it's a Chiefs team that has trouble on defense and has a goalie who has just been replaced. Let's put it that way. They then get Cobra Kai without their best players. They then get Blood Red without their best players. This is probably this is not a 3-0 team that I think is going to be the number 1 team in pro the way they are now. I see great players. Chris Calder, I think, is a fantastic player. But there are weaknesses on this team. Chris Barron can be an aggressive player. Luke Taylor. Is Luke Taylor aware that he doesn't have to shoot every time he touches the ball? I'm just curious.
Again, Luke, it's Andy Durham at yahoo.com. I don't call individual players. He does. I don't call individual players.
Well, I know the guy, so I can do this. You have players where they all seem to want the goal, and I just wonder, how are they going to be against a full team? This team might very well make the top 4, and I would not be surprised if they did. I would be stunned if they're raising a cup at the end of this because they will be exposed by top teams playing at the top of their game. Sell now. If they're at their peak, this is the time to sell.
Interesting. First of all, I want to give credit to Tracy for playing. I think if you watch her play, she's a terrific defenseman. She's probably one of the best female defensemen I've seen out there. Honey as well. Great credit to both of them as well too. Renee plays forward, and if you watch the game, these ladies play terrific. They have a strong female core. Now, Tracy, Renee, and Honey got started maybe about 3 or 4 seasons ago, and they were developing their game. But now they're there. That game is there. The game is polished. I love seeing that. So they have great players on their team to go along with the core of guys who are awesome. Luke, Richard, Chris, Josh, Chris Callender, Blaze, Blaze's brother, Zach. I mean, they're loaded on that side. One thing, I'm going to buy the Ducks, by the way. I'm buying the Ducks. I don't agree with Andy. I'm buying the Ducks completely. And on one condition, somebody from that male group's got to play defense. You can't have all girls play defense. You got to have the Blaze or somebody else come back and play D. If one of the guys steps back and plays defense with Honey or Tracy, this team's a buy. Sean's the goal. They're a buy. They're my third best team in the Pro Division right now. If I rank it, they'd be third best. But they could beat anybody on top of the game. So I'm buying the Ducks.
And you mentioned guys playing on defense, but I'll tell you right now, you look at the top teams, you look at the Puck Buddies, you see Peter back there on defense. You look at Cobra Kai.
Peter's one of the best defenders I've ever seen.
Yeah, you look at Cobra Kai, you see people like Matt and Patrick back on defense.
Yeah.
You look at the Snake Eyes, you see Matt and David back on defense.
And you know what, the Ducks have great people defensemen. They need a guy to help them out too. I mean, you just can't be all girls back there. Which guys, again, maybe I don't want to say the word selfish because it's not a selfish thing here with Ducks, but who's going to make that sacrifice to say, you know what, I got to be back here to help the team win. You know, and if one or two guys do that, this team is a solid buy.
Well, but as it stands right now, they're not doing it. So
yeah, well, they're 3-0.
They are. All right, when we come back from the next break, there's going to be a little hiccup coming up. When we come back, we're going to look at Week 4, including the first game, which might be the best game of the season.
Well, too. He's been here, get Brian involved some awesome way.
Oh yeah, he'll help us predict these next few games. So, like I said, it starts with one of the best games and goes downhill from there. So we'll see you.
As Chuck Woolley says, 2-2.
That's right. Here, if you look carefully, you can see the commissioner in his native environment, cheerfully enjoying a meal before his bed. Unfortunately for him, areas like this tend to be full of vicious predators.
The bank tried to sell the house, and they tried to bring people in.
Dude, what are you doing? You okay? It's the Caps again, isn't it? How many times do I have to tell you not to bet against them? Now look what you've done. That's about how they feel about you, don't worry. Okay, so,
now we're back.
As Seth gets done playing musical chairs here, as I said, we're going to go over these. We're going to go over the Week 4 games here. Brian, you can join us.
But I'm sorry, Brian, did you have something? You said you had a segment you want to talk about last week. Huh? Did you have something to talk about? You mentioned on the Facebook you meant something that you want to talk about this week. Did you have a segment?
Goalies?
No, you told me, hey, I have a great idea for next week. I have a.
Oh, I think it was the goalies.
Was it goalies?
Yeah, but
talk about it. Go ahead, go for it.
Go for it, Brian. We got all day.
We got time to kill. We got time to
I'd rather
kill.
talk about the playoffs so far.
I'm sorry.
I said I'd rather talk about the playoffs so far.
Oh, the NHL playoffs? He's talking about my Islanders.
I'll save it for the next week when I have more.
Can we have a moment of silence for the Islanders?
Hey.
Okay, now we can move on.
You remember the Islanders' season for what it was before they moved to Brooklyn next year?
That's true. Yeah, hey,
Is it next year or the year after?
We're not a team that underachieved and then overachieved and then we'll call saviors. We actually overachieved the entire season, so I'm happy about that.
No, but hopefully I'll have a segment about goalies in the coming weeks. Just observations, because I've seen very little goalies play, and it's always been a position of mine that I really
actually, Brian played goalie for a while there at JCC, so we have three ex-goalies here. I'm retired. He's soon to be retired.
The way I played, I don't.
Yeah, in fact, he should be retired, by the way. And Brian plays pretty good goalie. He started as a goalie with the Balls of Fury, if I recall correctly. So you were the original goalie, weren't they?
Correct.
That's the trivia question.
I originally played
question.
defense for Flying Hellfish.
There you go. But when Balls of Fury came into existence,
yes, I did.
You were the original goalie. That's right. I was there to referee something.
I don't even know what's going on.
Daryl's a goalie now.
Yes.
They went from him to Rob, the referee. Rob was a goalie. Now it's Daryl.
Nice.
Transitional clause.
There you go. So we're going to look forward to that. I've also been told that later on in the season we're going to have a visit from referee Neil Romdale, who's going to talk about his perspective and what he sees going on in this league.
Awesome.
Yes,
Neil, by the way, Neil is going to be, in case you didn't know, Rob is going to be on vacation for the next 2 weeks. So if we are playing on May 12th, which is currently scheduled right now, that means Sheriff Sutton is back in the saddle for 2 weeks along with Neil. But Neil's the head referee. Neil's in charge when he's there. I'm not in charge. Neil is. And then the new guy, Brian, is going to work with me when Neil's not there.
Okay. So let's get to the games now. We're going to start with probably the best game of the season, at least the one that's the most anticipated in your mind. Puck Buddies, Cobra Kai leads us off.
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm waiting for this
Puck
matchup.
Buddies 3-0, Cobra Kai 2-1.
Puck Buddies and Cobra Kai. What do you think? What do you think, Brian?
I haven't seen either play.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I'm going to
fine.
abstain.
These are a pass.
All right, I've seen these two teams play. I'm going to say right now, it comes down to who's there. I
Correct.
think that if Cobra Kai brings the full house, they've got the advantage. If they can't, then the Puck Buddies have the advantage. But if Cobra Kai brings most of the people, which, you can never get a full team, so that's just sort of an unfair statement. But I think as it stands right now, you have probably one of the most interesting matchups out there. The shooters like Jake and Peter and Dale, if Dale shows up. If
He's
Dale
fun.
shows up.
Talente's gonna show up there.
Okay. For the Puck Buddies, going against Jacob in goal for Cobra Kai. That's going to be interesting to see if they can break it down. Sean is also a very good goalie on the other end. The Cobra Kai have very good plays, very good design plays. The Puck Buddies run their offense through Jake, and he's able to make things happen. This is going to be a good matchup, but I really think Cobra Kai has the edge at the end of the day.
Before I get the answer about that game out there, hey, a contest for next week out there, okay? Anybody watching out there, I want you to vote, okay? And I'll pick whoever votes, and email me with a vote out there. I will pick a name out at random for people to vote out there. I have old-fashioned, blueberry, butter pecan, and strawberry syrup. Vote what syrup I should eat next time when I'm hitting IHOP. Okay? Vote which one you think I should eat. You have 4 options: old-fashioned, blueberry, butter pecan, and strawberry. Vote.
They can use all 4.
Yeah, no, all 4. Vote. Next week, I'll use that syrup on pancake next week so you can see that in the play. And if you vote, you'll be in a drawing for a free cool hockey event. A shirt that Jamie Jamie's the captain, a coach of our women's team out there. I have a shirt that he gave me. I'm going to give it to you as well too. So make sure you vote.
All right.
All right. Now
the
getting
game.
out of the way. Let's talk about the game overall. Cobra Kai and Puck Buddies. Today I'm going to go with Strawberry, by the way. Strawberry today. Cobra Kai and Puck Buddies. Again, if Cobra Kai complete team shows up, I'm gonna pick Cobra Kai with Puck Buddies. Bottom line, I think they have more offense in general. If the Cobra Kai girls show up, I think they have a slight edge over Puck Buddies. So I'm gonna go with Cobra Kai with Puck Buddies.
All right. From one end of the extreme to the other, in terms of positioning in the standings, from the 2 teams that were expected to dominate in Puck Buddies and Cobra Kai, down to 2 teams who are struggling to stay afloat right now. Game 2 is
Capitals? Oh, sorry. No, I'm talking about NHL or DCHL.
While you're voting, vote to see if I should smack that cap off of his head next week. I'm kind of curious to see what you people think.
No, the
I have a brand new cap.
That'll be Andy's last ever second in DCHL that ever happens, by the way. All right. Okay. So what 2 teams are struggling in DCHL?
Well, we got the NWO against the Chiefs.
Okay.
NWO who have
And probably the debut of the new goalie. I think it's Michael C. for the Chiefs.
that's going to make things interesting now.
Yeah. Well, you know what? If Paul is there, I'm going to pick the Chiefs. They have offense. If the goalie can hold forward, NWO is just struggling to score goals. They are just struggling to score goals. And it's surprising because they have Bill Nardi, they've got Michael Johnson, they got Mike, they've got Kosal, they got Jason the Point, and they have some good female players as well too. So I'm surprised they can't score goals, but until they show me they can, I have to go with the trend. And Chiefs can score goals. The goalie can hold forward. I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
I'm really not sure where to go with this because I don't know how good the new goalie is. I do think that Mike Johnson's the kind of player who can create something out of nothing. I think that is a big deal, but I think Paul Feinstein and Ruben Wolfson are probably the best 1-2 combo in terms of chemistry. They make an excellent tag team up front. That team goes as far as they'll take them, and I think that they can carry this team to a win. I agree with you on that one. Brian, do you have much of an opinion on these 2 teams?
Very good question. I'll just go, I guess, either against the grain or with the grain, saying that NWO is going to light up the new goalie.
All right, so he thinks NWO's got
New
this one.
goalies might have a little bit too much on his plate in the first game.
True, but you know what? Sometimes, I'm not sure where this new goalie plays, but if he plays ice hockey or plays anywhere else, this is a venue it's a goalie-friendly venue. If you play goalie before, bigger nets, shots don't get you as quickly out there. I think goalies have an edge in this venue. That's my personal
Well, they
opinion.
can't always have outstanding games.
No, they can't.
Anything is possible.
It is.
And-
But, that's a good point. We'll see.
And it does take some time to get used to the sight lines. We saw that We saw that with a few goalies over the course of the season so far.
Good point.
All right.
Next game.
Game 3, we have a couple of teams that are disappointed only come away with 1 point in the previous game. We have the Street Sharks and the Babylon Warriors. Babylon Warriors have a new player, Alex. You may remember him from
back.
You may remember.
He's back. The Canadian Nightmare's back.
Canadian Nightmare?
He's called Canadian Nightmare.
Nice.
You may remember him from the Sidwell days with the Mike Lindenbaum's Triple Deeks, who have.
Grant Triple Deeks.
No, he was not with the Grant team. He was with the Mike team.
He was with the Grant team. I know. He was never with the Mike team.
So how do you the name Nightmare?
Well, the Nightmare's the fact that he didn't know how to keep the high stick down. His stick was always high. But now with the high sticking level raised to show level, he's going to love playing here. He drove by last Sunday, came and talked to me. He's a goal scorer. He's built like a power forward, by the way. He's got great moves. He can shoot like you wouldn't believe. It's nasty slap shot. So I think he's going to be a big difference for Babylon Warriors because now they have that secondary goal scorer they need out there. So if JP can get him and Slack Dog going, they may be the team to beat maybe in the recognition out there. So a big move by the Babylon Warriors. And you're going to see Alex back here as well too. I think he's definitely from Montreal if I recall correctly. So I'm sure he's a very big Canadian fan as well too. So go Habs for Alex.
I got to say right now, the way that this is going, I think the Street Sharks again. This is the most unpredictable game just because this is the most unpredictable team. This is a team that had 3 points in the bag and let it go, and did it in such a way that they really have nothing to hang their hat on. Now, earlier in the season, we saw the Snake Eyes up 3-1 on the NWO with a minute to go. NWO came back and tied up. The Snake Eyes took it in the shootout, and that was a big morale boost for them because they could say that they had recovered, they were mentally tough, they were resilient, they were able to hold on. Street Sharks did not get that second point. And,
well, you know what? They played the Scabs, right?
Yes, they have played the Scabs.
They played the Scorpions.
They played the Scorpions.
Babylon Warriors. Coming up this
Yeah.
week. So, the Street Sharks pretty much are going through tough teams right now. So, if they can find a way to get points here, they'll be okay. But if they lose here, they're going to be really behind the 8 ball. So this is a very big game for the Street Sharks out there. Again, they're playing the tough part of the schedule early. They're playing the major teams early out there. So they've got to find a way to get points against the Babylon Warriors.
Now you've seen the Street Sharks. You saw the result of that game. How do you think they're going to be mentally coming into this one?
They're going to be a mess. I want to say something else, but I'm not sure if I'm allowed to. But for the most part, they'll be a mess. One thing I could take away from the Street Sharks is that they failed to capitalize on any power play opportunities that were given to them. Plus, they also got hurt on the other end in trying to prevent the Scorpions from scoring. I think we went, 3 for 5 on power play against them, and that's their biggest weakness from what I could tell. When they're even strength, they have the talent up front to do heavy damage. And I'm very suspect that they'll be in sync this coming game versus a tough opponent in the Babylon Warriors, especially with this new free agent that's going to be debuting this week.
With all that said, I'm still picking the Street Sharks, by the way.
All right, I want to.
Go against the grain. That's
fine. So with Babylon Warriors, all right.
I like toss-up games.
I think this one could end in a shootout, and in that case, it is folly to pick the winner of a shootout. Game 4 is going to be a couple of teams that I have to say are going to struggle this season. Already have struggled to start. This is going to be sort of a pride game for both of them. You got the Untouchables against L2T. Hey,
wait a minute. You just won last week. They're going to come on a high, total high. UT, right?
Well, they did just win, but that didn't stop you earlier in this broadcast. And we can rewind the tape. Well, no, we can't rewind the tape. We might as well.
What's it supposed to do? YouTube, you can play it over and over and over again.
You can find it. He's already on record as saying the Untouchables will have their letdown game and lose this week. So now's your chance to say why.
Because I think I'll tell you what, I'm concerned about the goal scoring again. They played a perfect game against the Scabs. When you play a perfect game, come off a very big upset. You have that letdown game. You duplicate that back to back. Very hard to duplicate it back to back out there. L2T can score goals, so I think that the difference will be goal scoring for L2T. They get shots on goal, they probably score. So I like L2T to get their first win of the season against the L2Ts.
I just say this one's probably a tough one to call. both of these teams are going to struggle. Have struggled a bit already. As it stands right now, I think L2T has just a little bit more talent. But once Untouchables gel, they're going to do a lot better. This is a tough one. Have the Untouchables had enough time to really feel like a team yet? It's week 4 coming up. I'm not sure they've had it. Something like this takes usually a lot of games. Usually takes at least 1 full season to get done. So I think L2T will have the slight edge, but L2T showed a big problem, a real red flag. They were up 4-0 and couldn't hold on. I don't care how good the Jacks are this season, and they've added so many players. They are good. I don't care how good they are. You're up 4-0 halfway through the game. You should win.
Yeah, and that's concerning is the fact that they struggle to score goals. They finally get 4-goal lead. Then the defense lets them down. So they got to do a better job on their own end out there. But this, I think, if you look at the schedule for L2T, this is a game they can win. This is a chance for points here.
This is definitely a winnable game. But I think the Untouchables will scrape this one out. Brian?
Wow. Okay.
I'm actually agreeing with Andy. I think that the Untouchables may have improved tremendously from their first few games in the preseason, the first 2 regular season games, and found a formula for success. Goals, on the other hand, are still questionable. They still average like 1 goal a game.
Something like that. Yeah, it's very low. Very low.
This game they'll get maybe 3 or 4 goals, just out of to break the norm, so to speak. I haven't seen
L2T,
L2T? All right. I haven't seen them play yet. I don't have any information about them, but from the sound of it, it sounds as if they have the offensive potential. I'm not sure about their defensive or goalie capabilities.
Well, goalie is always up in the air with L2T.
I think your guys' feature game will be against L2T.
Well, yeah, but
the Scorpions will play on L2T, and that'll be the feature game the Scorpions will get on video.
Well, we'll get to that. That's much later in the season.
So we got Untouchables here, and I'm the only person who was going to be right. I chose the Street Sharks. So
that's right. In between Untouchables and L2T, he chose the Street Sharks. You heard it here first. So we go on to Game 5. Game 5 is going to
Cinco de Mayo.
Yes. Yes. Game 5 on the 5th day of the 5th month.
Cinco de Mayo.
Anybody who shows up in a sombrero gets an automatic 2-minute minor. So that's not for us to do, man.
And if you're a certain player who doesn't play in our league anymore, I won't even go there. I won't even go there because that player would know what I'm talking about there. There was a certain player in our league who got upset because his teammate showed up with alcohol breath on his for a game. And he was very upset about that. So all I'm saying is just be careful, be adults, be responsible. If you're drinking, it's fine. Just don't drink on the camera. Just don't drink.
I think this should have gone at the start of the broadcast.
Don't drink and play. It doesn't work well.
Or don't play and drink. Doesn't work well either.
So Game 5, Day 5, Month 5 is definitely is going to be a test. We're going to find out which of these teams is real, which of these teams is fraudulent. Snake Eyes and Ducks. Wow. Snake Eyes have held on for 2 overtime wins. The Ducks, as we've mentioned, caught 2 teams with a suboptimal roster. Who's for real here? Who are we going to see come out of this? This is a game I think the Snake Eyes are actually favored in spite of everything else because they have the mental toughness. They have shown it in the past. They recovered from that collapse to win a shootout. They came all the way back from a shootout. The Ducks have caught teams on good days. And the Snake Eyes are not going to be a team to catch on a good day because Ron, I believe, will be back. And,
I believe so.
And he'll be playing with new fire. So
one for Dylan.
So I think the Snake Eyes are actually a favorite here, and I think they win. What do you?
The favorite?
I really do.
Can I put up $10,000 in that game, please? There's no way. I'll record right now. Sorry, Kelly. There's no way Snake Eyes will be the Ducks. It's going to be probably going to be a 3 or 4 game victory for Ducks out there. It's not even close. I wish Andy had a line. Is there like Atlantic City Andy? Can I call right now and put $10,000 on because I'll take that line in a heartbeat. The Ducks, Snake Eyes are favorite. Where do you set lines, Andy? You must be completely off your rocker. Ducks are clearly a 3-goal favorite here. No way the Snake Eyes are favored. And the Snake Eyes will not win this game. Done. Complete. Over with. Ducks are a better team. In fact, I hope that Snake Eyes have Aflac insurance because they're going to need it after this game. It's going to be a blowout for Ducks. There you go.
Right. A team that has yet to be tested.
I'm not shy. I make my opinions pretty well known.
A team that has yet to be tested. A team that has yet to face anyone at full strength. And you think they can be the Snake Eyes team that has shown mental toughness.
By at least 3 goals.
By at least 3 goals, huh?
On record. On record.
Remember, the Ducks do not play defense.
Sorry, Kelly. I'm just being honest.
The Ducks don't play defense. The Snake Eyes have one of the most physical defenses in the league. There's no way it's getting to 3 goals.
I just gave John Rom's love this. He's bold with John Rom. He's loving this, by the way. Reverse psychology, right, John? Reverse psychology. But the bottom line, I think the Ducks are underrated. I think they're a very good team. And Snake Eyes, again, they can't score goals. They can't score goals. Now, Ducks will give up some goals. They'll give up goals. But I don't think, there's too much offensive Ducks out there. Snake Eyes can't go gun for gun for them. It's gonna be at least a 2 or 3 goal game for the Ducks. Done. Next game.
You want to ask Brian what he thinks, or are you just going to take over this whole podcast?
Oh, yeah, but Brian, do you want to be right or do you want to be wrong?
I'll be indifferent. This is the game of the week.
Smart move. Smart game. Shootout.
You heard it here, folks?
What are you guys drinking? Whatever you need, I want some of that because
This is Islanders Kool-Aid.
delusional. It must be delusional because it's got
Sewer waters. Hey, it's my hometown
Is it Long Island
drinking
sewer
water.
water?
Exactly, only the finest.
All right.
Next game.
Moving on to Game 6, we got the Funk Masters against Blood Red. You got a Funk Masters team. This is what I had to put up with all last week.
Fuck yeah.
You notice he's just stepping on all my lines. You notice he's
Give the that, please.
There you go.
Fuck yeah. One more chance. Fuck yeah.
This is before he actually throws up again.
Yeah, exactly. You have a pair of teams at 1 and 2 that really need a win.
Who's Fuck Master, by the way? Who's Fuck Master play?
Blood Red.
Blood Red. The 2 teams I love the most. They're close to my heart.
Yeah.
Blood Red and Funk Master.
A pair of 1 and 2 teams. Both of them really need a win at this point.
Absolutely. This is what we call the separator game.
Yes,
It
this is an important
separates
one.
the tier 2, the bottom tier from the top tier. This game is it right here. The team that loses is going to be 1 and 3. Not good. Not good at all. And both teams were predicted to be actually a top 4 team. So, who do you like, Andy?
Well, you know what? This is a tough one. I'm looking up and down here. The people are matched all over the place. I think the difference here is that the Funks have people who will commit to defense.
They do?
And I think that Jordan is a slightly better goaltender than Tom. If he's only playing 1 game.
Jordan will play 1 game as far as I
Well,
know.
there you go.
I don't know the inside scoop, by the way. So.
And I think he's going to get the help from the defense. When you look at the shooters, you look at Keith and Tommy. Keith and Tommy is a cancel each other out, really.
You know what?
So I think
Good
the
point.
Funks have an ever so slight edge. I think it'll be enough to carry the day.
I agree with you. I think one team is an ever, but I think it's Blood Red. They have an ever so slight edge. I hate to pick Blood Red because they don't play defense. Well, they don't play team defense for 60 minutes, which is, in this case, 45 minutes they do out there. So I think, besides keeping going to score goals, the Funk Masters.
That's true. Who's going to score
Who's
goals?
scoring goals? Funk Masters. He can't score all 5 goals. Well, he can, but he probably
That's the problem. He can.
He can, but he probably won't. So, I think if Tommy's there, Boris is there, I think they'll find a way to get more goals past
The Funks do need people to step up. They need Simon to step up and Dan Klein to step up.
Until they do, I can't pick Funk in this game. I gotta pick Blood Red by an ever so slight edge. Ever slight edge. What about you?
I'll go with Funk Masters by 2.
There you go. Okay, Game 7. We got the
We have
score.
some videotape, by the way. I'll videotape that. So
Yes.
go back and see how wrong these guys are later on.
Don't worry, I'll be drinking the Kool-Aid.
I can grab
Right on next week.
That'd be good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, games.
I can take that plate.
Thank you.
If you need anything else,
Take it out. To go box for the mic.
Would you like a glass as well, or are you gonna?
No, I'm good. Game 7, we got the Scorpions at 1-1-1. The 5-minute majors at 1-0-2.
And the first place 5-minute majors.
Yes.
The first place 5-minute majors.
Showing the
When
importance of
he says
shootouts.
102, he means 2 shootout wins and 1 elimination.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah. So.
They have 3 wins, 2 of them are shootouts.
And in this one, I think the majors are favored on paper. I think they are a team. They have better shooters at this point, and I think even if Roger gets out there, and he should be out there, I think that the majors have a better goalie.
Okay, so
But-
this is the game that you play. Let me go
But-
first. Right.
We said all of that about the Street Sharks too. We said all of that about how the Scorpions were going to struggle against the Street Sharks. We said it was going to be at least a 2 or 3 goal game.
I said it was 2.
Right.
And it was until Papa showed up. Until Papa showed up. The ghost of Papa showed up.
The Scorpions did not give up. They kept firing. And here's the other thing. This is going to be big. 5-minute majors have a lot of players who stay in their position. The Scorpions are the most active team in the DCHL by a lot.
Define active.
They have the most shots on goal for and the most shots on goal against.
So you mean active? They give a lot of shots. They get a lot of shots.
That there's a lot of end-to-end play. It is very fast-paced. It is up and down. It is end-to-end. And if you are able to play that game, look back at the games we've seen so far with the Scorpions here. Scabs could play that game. They had the people who could run coast to coast. They won. Untouchables did not have the people who could do that. They lost. Street Sharks had a similar style. The two played into each other. It canceled out. It was a tie. The question is now, it's clear. The Scorpions are able to dictate pace. Can the 5-minute majors adjust to that pace? Do they have the people who can do that? And you know what? I think they do. Honestly, I think they have. You know what? I think the majors are the favorite. I don't want to get. I can't say that because I'm playing in the game.
Okay. It passes to you.
I'm saying the 5-minute majors are the favorites by 3. The reason why I was watching, I know it's too high. The reason why is I was watching their game of the week this past week, and I saw a disciplined team that wants the Scorpions are. I can equate the Scorpions to the Washington Capitals.
That's a very good point.
They're a fun and gun team, and it shows. We're probably the top 3 teams in goals for, but we're also in the top 5
goals given up. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Very good point.
Plus 3, 17 goals for and 14 against.
Very good point.
Awesome power play.
Here's what's not being talked about. The Scorpions, they are deadly on the power play. I believe they actually are over 50% on the power play.
67, I think, or something ridiculous.
Right.
And okay, I'm going to step in here. Scorpions, Sean Moore playing full time. Speed demon, leading. He's the top. I'm not sure if he's leading the league. He's the top 3 scoring in the league. Gordon Franklin, rookie, the #1 draft pick, scoring goals. Scorpions can score goals this season. Of course, Brian from Point. No, but he's already got 3 goals this season.
He's already got 3, yeah.
Goals, so he's not bad for a guy coming off a concussion, coming off the Brett Lindahl syndrome. We also have Scott also there as well too. Lauren, is it Lauren or Laurel?
It's Lauren.
It's Lauren. She's also a great player as well too. They've got scores on that team out there. But you're right. Where their struggle is defense. They don't have team speed defense. The players aren't quick on the feet, and they're not disciplined as well too. They will get a lot of goals as well too. This is going to be a great game. You know what? There are certain games you have to pick upsets. I'm going to pick an upset here. I'm going to pick the Scorpions to beat the 5-minute major.
Well, thank you very much.
Goal scoring, just based on goal scoring.
All right.
Is it disciplined enough? And Veronica's is back in net. Scorpions have a chance to beat the 5-minute major.
All right. Oh, sorry, everyone.
Next game, final game of the night.
Yeah, and our nightcap is the Scabs against the Jacks. Scabs at 2-1. The Jacks are, I believe, 1-1-1.
They don't have regulation loss. They have the 2 shootout. They have 2 shootouts.
Oh, they're 1-0-2. Excuse me.
And by the way, if you look at this game, before the season started, Scabs and Jacks. Who do you think would have been in the top 3? Who would have guessed it was the Scabs, right? Well, they are the top 3. The Jacks are right there as well.
Both teams on 6 points.
And Scabs have the tiebreaker because they have more regulation wins. But Jacks are number 3 in the reg division. They haven't had a regulation loss yet. They're playing very, very well. Give credit their defensive style. They play an ugly game, but they do a good job of it. It should be a great game again. Scabs will be tested again.
Yes.
It's like the Untouchables all over again. A team that plays ugly defensive tie game, can they score goals? It can be a very key factor here.
And I think it's going to come down to what their stars do. Honestly, I think that Francois Dumont, seeing it for the 2nd straight week, he's going to find a way to solve it.
He's the other Canadian that we have in our league as well too. I think the Scabs will be angry about last week. I know they're angry. I got emails saying we should have lost that game. So they're upset, and it was a reality check. You know, sometimes a loss is good for a team. This was probably a good loss to the Scabs last week, I think. I think it'll wake them up, and then we'll come back, and I'm going to pick them to beat the two Jacks to go.
All right, we've seen the Scabs. We've played against them. What do you think of their chances here?
Pretty good chances of beating 2 Jack no coach next week, just because of this painful loss to the Untouchables last week, especially being shut out by the Untouchables. I really don't see the Scabs being held up to the score sheet.
Now this is interesting. We've talked about painful results. You mentioned with the Street Sharks, Brian, you mentioned with the Street Sharks you think that is going to be a detriment. You mentioned with the Scabs you think that's going to be a motivator. What is the difference between the two teams that makes you think that they'll have different responses?
I think it's more of the makeup of the teams. When we played the Scabs in the first week, I saw a team with a killer instinct versus the Street Sharks. I know they are a very energetic team. I didn't get that sense of urgency to go for the kill. There were multiple times where they were up by 2-3 goals, and we just started to chip away at that. And when you get a big lead on a team, whether it's 3 or 4 goals, I forgot what other team had a large lead.
Well, we had 2 other teams with a large lead. The Fox had one.
Right. You have to figure out that you want to put the game away and not let any chance of the opposition of coming back in.
You know what? I'm going to agree with Brian, but from a different point of view here. I don't think the Sharks were easygoing. I think it's a situation. The Scabs are expected to win that rec division. They were 2-0, and they lost a game that they had thought they were going to win out there. The Street Sharks are more loosey-goosey. They weren't playing, an easy team. So they're hard to play. So I think from a mental standpoint, it was more of a loss to the Scabs' mind than more of a loss to the Street Sharks. That's why I think the Scabs are more motivated this time around. And I've already proclaimed them as the team to beat. So. They're going to bounce back.
So far, they're living up to it, except for that one blemish, which
it's a one-goal game. It can go either way. That's why you play close games. When you play close games, anything can happen at the end.
Also, I think it's best that it happens to the Scabs now.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So in this game, I still think the Scabs will come back and show that they still are the right team to beat this year.
Now, we've been talking for about 70 minutes here so far, and we've talked a lot about the league, talked about different subjects. There's one that I wanted to bring up with both of you that I wanted to ask both of you about.
Before we do that, can I just point about the Scabs?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Sorry about that.
Before the new topic here, the one thing about the Scabs I'll tell you about is the fact that he's right. If the Scabs are smart, they have veteran players like John Rams, Todd, Charlene, Owen, Carlos, and Francois. They will see what their weaknesses are. Because it was exposed last week. They saw what they can't do well and got to do better out there. I think they'll learn from the mistakes they made and from where they got to get better. If they watch that video, if they go back to that game overall in their head, they'll see they got to do better. I think this team will adjust and make adjustments overall. I think it'll be okay.
All right. This past week, we saw 3 teams with at least a 3-goal lead fall apart. We saw 3 teams get it with at least a 3-goal deficit roar back. We saw Suds make a complete jackass of himself repeatedly.
That never stops though.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. That wasn't just last week. That's every day. So, my question is, let's take a look at the 3 games. I want to ask, which one surprised you the most? The 3 which comeback? Let's phrase this positively for a change. Which comeback? The Snake Eyes come back against the Funks, the Scorpions come back against the Street Sharks, or the Jacks come back against L2T. Which one surprised you the most? All right, go ahead.
The Funkmaster collapse because they're a very defensive team. They're a pro team, they're a veteran team, and Snake Eyes aren't exactly a goal-scoring machine. That to me surprised me the most.
All right, Brian, what do you think?
With the Scorpions, I'm still stunned that we actually forced the game into a shooting.
Yeah, I gotta agree with Brian here. Not just that it has nothing to do with the Funkmasters. You kind of knew they couldn't get that extra goal if Keith was shut down. L2T doesn't know had not been used to playing ahead. They didn't know they hadn't found a way to handle affluence, as my dad would say. But the Street Sharks had it by the throat. They had 3-goal lead with 3 minutes to go.
Okay, I'm going to counter point here as well too. The Street Sharks don't exactly have a great defense, so collapse there is not a shock. Of all the 3 teams, the Funkmaster has the best defensive team. That collapse was more of a surprise because the other 2 teams, L2T, Sharks don't play exactly great defense, so that it can happen against those 2 teams. But it's usually happen against the Funkmasters and Jordan goal and keep that back their defense. That's my personal.
All right, so see why that is. I still think the time factor has to be taken into account here.
Time factor wise, yeah, you guys scored 3 goals the last 2 minutes, right? Or 2 and change.
Yeah, 3. It was like a 90-second span to wipe out the lead. If you go from the first goal to the third goal, I think that's part of why I'm picking that one.
Well, I'm still going with the Scorpions. Sorry to cut you off, just because we started out slow. We got our asses handed to us the first period and a half, and all of a sudden something clicked in the third period where we just started to fight back. And I didn't think we would have that type of chutzpah to come out and just overcome these leads or instances where we lost a player for game misconduct. And we had everything almost aligning against us that this was improbable.
And
good point. The resilience. You guys were resilient. I think it's a combination of you guys being resilient and the Sharks giving up goal. I think it was a combination of both. The Sharks just didn't play well, but you guys were resilient too. Combination of both teams. One doing well, one didn't have the end of it in this case.
And the other thing to remember is, it wasn't just coming back from 7-4 down at the end. They also had leads of 4-1 and 5-2 along the way.
Good point.
As you may have seen here, let me get a little close-up of it if I can. Suds, you can see on his wrist here the hospital bracelet.
Oh.
He was admitted to the hospital yesterday. He spent too much time watching the L2T highlight reel and wound up dehydrated. So we want to wish him a speedy recovery. We're going to cut this camera off before he winds up regurgitating his dinner. Brian, thanks for coming by again.
Thanks, guys.
Suds, as always.
And don't forget, vote.
Yes.
Either
vote.
old-fashioned, blueberry, butter pecan, or strawberry. Vote which one you want me to eat next week with the pancake, which shrimp I want to use out there. And all the people will vote. I'll pick one random name from those people who vote. Get a free Cool Hockey Event shirt, sponsored by CoolHockeyEvents.com and Jamie from Cool Hockey Events.
All right, we hope you've enjoyed the last 70 minutes or so. We have a lot to talk about. We love talking. We love this league. This is why we get together in times like this. Really, we love all of you. That's why we're here.
Go Caps.
And with that, the voice once again goes silent for another week.